This episode of Bourbon on Ice, presented by your friend Frosty and your bartender Mike Whiskey, is brought to you by the Cape Media Center of Cape Cod, Massachusetts. The views and opinions expressed during this podcast do not necessarily reflect those of the Cape Media Center. Listener discretion is advised. Whiskey, what's that?
What's what?
All of that. Like, all of it.
Oh, well, this is my research that you asked me to bring for this episode.
Gotcha. And all of that over there?
Yeah, that's the research too.
Oh my gosh.
Roll the music!
Welcome, listeners, to Bourbon on Ice,
where we talk about everything nerdy, like gentlemen.
Join us every week for our local Cape Cod take on, well, everything.
Laugh, cry, be confused, and laugh some more.
I'm your friend Frosty.
And I'm your bartender, Mike Whiskey. Stay tuned.
You think they'll like the episode?
Oh, they'll definitely love it.
Hello, sweetie pie. Aren't you the cutest little thing? Yes, you are. Sitting there like a little ghost, snuck into the...
Oh my gosh, we're recording. Hi, everyone. I'm your friend Frosty.
And I'm your bartender, Mike Whiskey.
And that's Rosie on the ground.
Yep.
Yeah, she's adorable. And welcome to Bourbon on Ice, where we discuss all things nerdy, like gentlemen. I like that. That's better.
Yeah.
If only we could get the dogs to like... Row, row, at the end of it. It could be like a thing.
It could be.
Yeah, but it's not.
No.
Let's not do that.
And it's gonna get pretty nerdy today.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe... I'm looking at this massive pot... You have a drink that's sitting next to it, and I'm wondering, is that going to fall over and crush your drink? Because that's how high the pile goes. So, everyone, I just wanted to say hi.
And I wanted to say that this was Frosty's idea.
Yeah, it was. I didn't think he would take this and run with it this much.
I didn't think I would either.
I'm just going to tell you people right now. We are diving straight into another installment of the Cape Cod Nerd Word with extra nerdiness on top.
I feel like we've done a lot of these this month.
I know we have. I think we're hitting our base audience right now. Noids.
Yeah, like us.
Yes, noids.
Noids.
You're gonna totally let me get away with that.
I am. Because I'm thinking of the candy.
Oh, I miss that stuff.
Yeah.
It's literally pure sugar and I can't have it.
I know.
I came home from work today and Robbie was complaining about some jam. It was a raspberry peach champagne jam. He's like, ugh.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Gluten-free, you could have had it.
Oh,
but he's sitting there complaining like, ugh, so sweet. It's so sweet. I said, oh, that's so sad. You get to have sugar. And that, Your Honor, is when I killed him. We should delete this part.
Yes.
Thank heavens no one heard that.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, we're going to dive right into the topic. The topic is better than the book or worse than the book? What, am I asking? Why, the silver screen, the moving pictures, the flickamajig,
The theater.
the theater. Well, the moving theater with the cylinders and the animation and the help.
Yeah, I'm not going to help you there.
Do you just love to let me flounder?
Yes, I do, actually.
I asked Whiskey about books that became movies. Do you happen to know any? And I'm sitting here looking at a legitimate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10. There's a pile of 10 books over there.
I have 2 books that I didn't bring over.
That would have been 12.
And 1 book that I couldn't find, so it would have been 13. But 2 of those books are more like honorable mentions.
Okay, 3 is a magic number. 13 is a terrible number. So let's be happy we dodged a bullet there. Okay, so I think we're gonna jump right into this. Hey, does your water have cucumbers in it?
It does have cucumbers in it.
No fair. Mine does not.
Why didn't you ask?
I didn't know you had cucumbers. I didn't know there were vegetables in this house.
I could give you a lemon.
Let's just get to this topic. Okay, so since he has so many to unload, we're going to start with him. Hey, Whiskey, do you happen to have a book that you think was better or worse than a movie?
Yes, I do, Frosty. My first pick is Flash Gordon.
Whoa,
Savior of the universe.
That was completely involuntary. I literally had no control over that.
Nope.
Wow.
No, you didn't.
That was powerful.
It was.
Okay, so...
Flash is on this list because I watched the movie for the first time a few weeks ago. Quit laughing at me. Quit laughing at me too, audience. I know you're laughing. And I just felt sad. I felt sad at the end of it because it felt like it should have been more. A lot more.
More.
And when I looked into it, I was right. Flash Gordon began in 1934.
1934.
1934 as a comic strip. And
The
so
unimportant time.
not the unimportant time.
Before us.
Anyways, it began as a comic strip in 1934. So it has this rich, like almost 50-year history before this movie came out. And it feels like they tried to fit all of that history into this 111-minute film. And the film was great. I loved the film. It was fun. It was campy. It was stupid fun.
It was a little bit homoerotic.
I didn't get that at all.
Continue.
And it just felt like a truncated version of the masterpiece that could have been.
I will say this, and only this. That is a common complaint that a lot of people have. Movies that are based on books, they take entire chapters worth of exposition, beautiful detail, and they say, let's cram it down to 2 hours, and they basically ruin everything. But we're not just talking about a book. We're talking about a comic book series with multiple stories that spanned years, and they said, hey, let's get rid of all of that. So yeah, I totally agree with you.
Speaking of what gets truncated and cut down to, you hiss. This book is Aragon.
Boo hiss, boo,
Boo hiss. The movie was awful. The book was pretty good.
I'm sorry, it's just every time I hear that, I want to go out and punch a 16-year-old in the throat. He achieved fame and success at a young age, and I will never have that.
He actually got this published when he was 13.
Oh, now I want to punch 13-year-olds. More than unusual.
Well, it was a great inspiration for me when I was that age,
Gotta
because
freshen my drink.
I was like 13 at the same time that this came out, so it was pretty wild.
I don't know.
But seeing the movie
Yeah,
just...
I was about to say, I never saw the movie because I'm sane, so tell me what happened.
So, it was like the meme with the Japanese woman. This one sparks joy. And then I will bring out the movie. This one does not spark joy.
From what I hear, it was inaccurate, to say the least, but they were also saying that they made it very dark, took away a lot of detail, and made what was supposed to be a visually stimulating book into a very dark, one-sided, somber type of movie, full of grittiness.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I never saw it. I didn't read the book out of spite. What exactly is it about?
Oh, it's... Quite honestly, it's almost like Star Wars. If you can think of the plot of Star Wars, it's basically the plot of Aragon.
With dragons.
With dragons.
Okay, then.
Instead of space wizards, it's dragon riders.
Well, I think I can get behind that. I'm still not going to support him because I hate him. No, support local artists and authors and all that blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And, young writers. It's just, I'm bitter.
Yes.
If you've known me for like 5 seconds, you'll get that.
Yep. That's 2 of mine. Frosty, how about one of yours?
Sorry, I'm just pouring more booze into my bottle of unfiltered poison, which I'm going to bring every time I'm here.
You just poured straight lime juice.
I know, right? It worked.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to go for something a little more contemporary, but by no means good, which is, the point of all this. In 2005, Sahara came out on the scene. It was an action-adventure film based on the 1992 novel of the same name by Clive Cussler, who is famous for those Dirk Pitt novels. I absolutely love those. Dirk Pitt was an explorer, a diver, an archaeologist, a swashbuckling hero who happened to fly planes and take down bad guys and, sleep with every beautiful woman that passed his field of vision. It just happened.
Yeah.
And he had the name Dirk Pitt. It was an unmitigated flop. How do I know this? Because I got to see it. And wow, was it full of a lot of action and explosions and gunfire. So I then said, you know what? I really want to read this book. Nothing like the book.
Was the book better?
Arguably better. It was not better than the book.
Oh,
it was definitely
really?
not better than the book.
Really?
It was, like I said, an unmitigated flop. Now, this was actually an attempt by... Hang on, I'm just going to look up here who produced this. Let's see. Oh, Paramount was distributing this. This was their first attempt. As I said, This was a series of novels. Sahara was not even the first one out there, but this was their attempt at launching a franchise based off of the Dirk Pitt novels, which there were many, and it failed so bad that it ended the entire franchise. Matthew McConaughey actually put a lot of his own money into this movie just so he could play the lead character.
Wow.
People found it inaccurate, over-sexualized, too many one-liners, and as I said, I read the book and said, wow, this is nothing like it. It's actually better than the movie. Full of intrigue and mystery and narrow escapes, as opposed to the movie, which was just... All right. That was my Matthew McConaughey. Sorry. Yeah, this was not good.
Ooh.
Okay, I did one. You have a stack.
I
Let's
think
get back to your next stack.
I think this next one we can both agree on.
Are we going to?
We probably will.
Will we?
So, if you look here, this
looking.
stack is all one series. The first is the Book of Three. The second is the Black Cauldron, which may ring a bell.
It does. It totally does.
This is the Chronicle of Prydain series, or Prydain. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. Written by Lloyd Alexander. It is a 7-book series, and they basically tried to fit the first 3 books into the Black Cauldron.
Which is an animated Disney movie which absolutely nobody has ever seen.
I used to love that movie as a kid, because I had this strange collection of the obscure Disney movies.
Yeah, that came out in 1985.
Yeah. And after I read the book, I was so disappointed by the movie. Just so disappointed.
I think to this day that anyone trying to pronounce the names of some of these people was a masochist. You have Princess Ilanwi?
Let me look at the
and
spelling.
Fledwadur Flam.
Okay, so there's your first problem. Illinois.
Illinois. See, I was never even close.
No, it's more of an A. Illinois.
Illinois. Okay.
AI is a diphthong that's pronounced like an A, or A, and then W is like an O in the Welsh language.
I totally get it now.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, it's Welsh. It's the Welsh language. It's the weirdest language you'll ever see.
It is very complicated, right up there with Gaelic.
Yep.
I think I should just point out that Elder Nerd just walked into the room and picked up literal whiskey in a jar while we were talking.
That's why it's on the playlist.
That's awesome.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have that. So overall, your feeling about the movie was that it was what?
Just total disappointment.
But why the disappointment? I mean, didn't it appeal in some way, or was it...
No. It took everything, just sort of... I won't say it spat on it, because that's for later on in this pile, but
You've got some ones that are really going to stick in your craw.
I've got at least one that's gonna really grind my gears. There may be a rant.
Wow.
A rare rant from Whiskey.
These are always fun when these happen. I mean, most people think of him as kind and sweet and nice, but I know that there's a dark Whiskey.
Anyways, that's my third pick, The Black Cauldron and the Chronicles of Prydain series and novel. Just complete disappointment from the books.
Now, I'm going to bring up something that is not recent, and it's based on classic literature. Ergo, it was terrible.
Okay.
Yeah, I said it. In 1995, there was a little drama, a romantic drama that came up. It was called The Scarlet Letter.
Ah.
You know, from Nathaniel Hawthorne's novel.
Yes.
The 1850s one. So, you know, we've already got strikes against it. Demi Moore, Gary Oldman, Robert Duvall. And it flopped for, you know, being boring and based on a mostly well-known but not all that exciting story. 7 Razzies. Well, it won, but it was, 7 nominations for that. But there was one particular thing about it. While there was talks of overacting, talks of historical inaccuracies, there was this one thing where at the end, they decided to change the ending.
Okay.
Hester is about to be, for those who don't know, it's about Hester Prynne, who has been branded with the Scarlet A, which she must wear on her chest for her shocking adulterous crime.
Dun dun dun.
Yes. So at the end of this, in Massachusetts Bay Colony, by the way, where, that sort of thing with pilgrims and Puritans are like, no, sex bad. He is to be hung at the gallows. And then Native Americans, that was it. They had a Native American attack that just suddenly went right in.
Huh. That wasn't in the book.
That was not in the book. People die on both sides. Lots of people. And they say, hey, you know what? This seems like we should just hush the incident up. And nothing's going to be reported here, and subsequently the movie will end. And I was saying to myself, I don't remember there being a Native American slaughter. It was like someone was sitting around saying, what are we going to do to make this movie more interesting in the last 10 minutes or so? How about a Native American attack? Yes, let's do it. It's brilliant. No, it wasn't.
No.
It was culturally insensitive and very stupid. So yes, the movie was a terrible flop. Who does that? What kind of person does that where they say, hey, you know what? I think we should just throw out the ending and come up with something gory and interesting.
We actually have a term for that in Dungeons & Dragons.
We have a term for that in Dungeons & Dragons?
Yeah. Rocks fall, you all die. New game.
Very appropriate. I should keep looking out in case we go on too long and you start shaking the table.
The Cape Media Center, located in Dennisport, Cape Cod, Massachusetts, is a non-profit community media center and the public access TV station for the towns of Barnstable, Yarmouth, Dennis, Harwich, and Chatham. Our mission is to build community through media, enhance democratic communication, and facilitate free expression by providing these towns with a state-of-the-art media resource center. Members can become trained in our video and audio equipment and produce their own media content. Membership includes training classes, access to our field equipment, studios, and facility, as well as airtime. Podcasters and music producers can share their content on our website. For more information, visit capemedia.org.
This episode of Bourbon on Ice is brought to you by Market Street Bookshop in Mashpee Commons, located at 31 Market Street, Mashpee, Massachusetts. Embrace diversity and find support for local authors and artists at the Market Street Bookshop, where your favorite new read is just a browse away. For more information, give them a call at 508-539-6985.
Murph, please stop. Go somewhere else with that, buddy.
I see a white tail moving back and forth around the table.
He was chewing his bone right there. Murphy, somewhere else, please. Beagle, go. Murphy.
He's scandalized now. He's going to vow revenge upon us. Wait for a moment when we are knee-deep in drama and then bark loudly.
Yes.
That's what he's going to do.
He will lie in wait.
They all do.
They do.
They do. I've got Italian greyhounds that seem to have it out for me. I'd like to lie in the middle of passageways and trip me as I go by. Okay, back to the topic. I see there is a pretty book there with a ribbon in it.
This is Les Miserables.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it?
Never. Absolutely never.
Les Miserables?
Now it sounds familiar. Wait, isn't that the one where there's a lot of singing?
Yes.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it?
Les Miserables. Now this one I know.
I read the book, and like an idiot, I read the unabridged version.
That explains why it's so long.
The unabridged version contains a rant by Victor Hugo that covers maybe like a good fifth of this book. So, look at this book. This is a hefty book. 1/5 of this book is dedicated to a rant on the state of the sewers of Paris, completely unrelated to the plot.
You're not kidding.
I'm not kidding.
I mean,
there's maps and everything.
But what is the point of that?
He just wanted to rant and rail against the problems of the Paris sewers at the time.
That makes no sense. That makes literally no sense.
It does in this context.
Explain the context.
When Victor Hugo was an author, back in like the 1800s.
Wasn't he a gargoyle?
No.
A French gargoyle?
He was French.
I'm thinking of Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Anyways, authors were paid by the word.
Oh my gosh, that's brilliant! Stupid, but brilliant!
Oh yes.
So that explains the... Okay.
That explains the huge portion where they rant specifically about the sewers of Paris, including maps and whatnot.
Okay, I just want to give our listeners a little context here. Les Miserables, or Les Miserables, or Les Mis, as some of us call it, became
Those of us who can't speak French.
became a stage musical on October 8th, 1985. Then there was its first movie in 1998, and that was just a straight movie based on the book. And then there came the movie musical, which came out in 2012, with all the singing, the endless singing. They never stopped singing. They never frickin' stopped singing.
And Wolverine was in it.
Yeah, he was there too. And also that guy who fights people around the world.
Yeah.
Russell Crowe.
Oh, yeah, Russell Crowe is pretty cool.
Fighting round the world. Well, let's not get sued. Even if it is true.
Anyways, next time I want to read Les Mis, I will just read the unabridged version. Other than that, much better book than a movie.
Why? What was your take on why it was better?
The symbolism, the good Christian morality that Victor Hugo was able to weave through the book is much better explained and much more reverently dealt with in the book, I feel.
Hang on, let me see that. I can't read it. It's in a weird language.
It's because it's upside down.
There we go. Okay, let's
The
see.
usual
here.
habit strikes again.
Let's see. Total liquidation, the vanishing point. Death is dead, believe me. It makes me laugh, the idea that there may be someone waiting there with something to say to me. An old wives' tale, a boogeyman for the kids, Jehovah for grown man. No, our tomorrow is only darkness. I like this guy.
Yeah.
I like this man.
Victor Hugo is a great writer. He has some very high highs, but some also very low
Hi.
lows because of the stupid rant about the sewers.
I can't believe he got away with that.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of those moments where you say, what was he thinking? What was he thinking? He's thinking, I can't believe I'm getting away with this.
Exactly.
Ka-ching!
Ka-ching.
All right, I want to bring up... This is actually one of my top 3 favorite books.
Okay.
So when they made it into a movie and it...
They've made several movies about this one, I think.
Hang on, actually I'm thinking... All 3 of my favorite movies have... All 3 of my favorite books have been made into movies. Wow, that's a head trip. I should have thought of those.
Yeah.
Okay, but this is actually on the list, and I will not take any abuse for this. Come at me, trolls. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Specifically Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
I will suffer no abuse for this. How else will you get young men to read? How else will you get young men to read Jane Austen?
I mean, I enjoyed Jane Austen. I mean, I've read quite a few of her books.
Okay, so in 2009, Seth Grahame-Smith came out with Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, which was parodying the 1813 novel Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. And how did it parody it? It kept the story basically the same. It just happened to throw in a zombie apocalypse that's happening in the background, changing the women into badass fighters and talking about the inconvenience of zombie attacks. And this person is dead, that person is dead, this person is actually a terrible bastard maker who steals money and impregnates women. That woman prattles on relentlessly and is unaware of the fact that she's slowly decomposing as we speak. Lady Catherine has ninjas trailing along behind her and decries that anyone would possibly study in China instead. You know, just normal stuff. And it's all so matter of fact, with the same flowery language and dialect, to the point that it's hysterical. Girls form the pentagram of death. So, years later, when this movie came out in 2016, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, although it was called Pride plus Prejudice plus Zombies, which I think was its first mistake. No, I don't. No one cares. Okay.
No.
It was transformed into an action film. How do I put this bluntly?
It sucked.
It was inaccurate, in one word. First and foremost, as I said, they transformed what could have been just a simple, hysterical movie, you know, English balls and women in dresses and people talking about corsets and mail delivery with the occasional zombie attack, into a full-on action film, which nobody asked for. It was less funny, and it was more plot-driven. Then there were shocking betrayals and the apocalypse, and the 4 horsemen were riding around.
And all this extra stuff.
It wasn't needed. The book was perfect the way it was, which also pissed me off because it had, coming fresh off of Doctor Who at this point, Matt Smith.
Oh, really?
And
Wow.
I was like, yes! I can't wait to see who's gonna... Oh, he plays that character. One of the worst characters in the book, the most ineffectual, stupid people who winds up dying in a ridiculous way. Oh, I'm sure they'll handle him with dignity. No. And Lily James. Lily James was the lead, and they squandered her. So yeah, it didn't do well. The book was perfect the way it was, and it ended on a horrifying cliffhanger, indicating they were hoping for a sequel. It will never happen, people.
Nope.
No. So, off to the discard pile with you.
Yeah.
Was that like a banishing spell I did?
No.
Okay.
You needed more arcane runes and a much more specific spell.
Why ask a stupid question?
Yeah.
Your turn.
How many more do you have left?
Oh, let's see. I've got 2 left now.
Okay. I've got 2 and 2 honorable mentions.
Oh, I didn't even... Okay, continue.
So my next one is another unabridged book. This is The Spider Killer.
Let me see that. Yep.
This is The Count of Monte Cristo.
The Count of Monte Cristo. I love their sandwiches.
Yes, but the book was beautiful and amazing. It is probably
Arguably, yes.
it is probably my favorite book, if not a close second. And after having read it, the movie absolutely pales in comparison to the point where it's almost unwatchable for me.
Luis Guzman.
He's not so much a factor in it.
For me, it was. Like, why?
For me, it's the fact that the movie version of The Count of Monte Cristo is just such a disappointment.
How so? I saw this movie myself.
It's like a completely different movie than what is in this book. For one thing, he doesn't marry the girl at the end.
He doesn't?
No, he marries someone else.
Oh.
He moves on.
Huh.
Yeah.
It has been a long time since I've read this, apparently.
Yeah.
I thought it had something to do with delicious sandwiches, which shows everything.
Yeah.
And they did have some interesting one-liners, which I do remember not being in the book.
Yeah, I will give the... Well, that's just it. It's such a departure from the book itself that it may as well just be an entirely different story. And when I watch it with that in mind, it's fine. But if I want The Count of Monte Cristo, then the only way I'm getting it is the book.
1844, Alexander Dumas. Pere? I don't know. And the movie came out in 2002, I think. No, yeah.
Yeah.
But there was a film adaptation in 1934, and I'm pretty sure that everyone who has ever seen V for Vendetta will know that one. There's a loaded reference there. Go watch the movie.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
V for Vendetta is a great movie.
Yeah. A lot of explosions in that one, too.
Yeah.
What have they done to literature? It's just unfair.
I got another one too.
Let me hear it.
This one just sort of makes me mad, but not like overly mad. The Hobbit trilogy. It makes me mad because it's nothing like the book.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I've read every single book in the what is it called? The Fellowship of the Rings.
Yeah.
And before any of that, I tackled The Hobbit. And I tackled that when I was in 5th grade. I loved it. It was horrifying, it was dark, and I really loved it.
Yeah.
But I never saw any of the movies. Not the animated movie that came out around that time, and definitely not the trilogy. So, here's the thing you gotta know, people. The Hobbit is one book.
The Hobbit is one book.
But somehow they squeezed enough juice out of it to make 3 movies.
They really should not have. They really should not have.
Arguably, they almost did it justice by doing that, because one of the things most people argue about is they've crammed too much of a book into one movie. If they could have split it in half, then...
If it had been 2 movies, that might have been fine. But it did not need to be 3.
Did it still have the giant spiders?
Yeah.
Did it still have the angry dragon called Smaug?
Smaug? Yes, it did. Played by Benedict Cumberbatch.
Doctor Strange?
Yeah, Doctor Strange.
No way.
Yeah.
Shut the front door.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
He did a good job as Smaug.
So was he like in a motion cap suit?
Yeah. There's the videos and stuff of him online doing all the motions, like looking like an idiot. But it's great because he was so. You could obviously tell he was enjoying it too.
Did they have the trolls that turn into stone?
Yes, they had that.
Did they sing over the Misty Mountains?
Yes, they did.
Okay, I'm gonna challenge you on this. I want to see this. I want to see these movies.
Okay.
I've never seen them.
Never seen.
But you say that they did it injustice because they split up too much.
They split up too much and they added a lot more.
Oh,
So-
there we go. There's the cardinal sin.
They added a lot. They added a dwarf and elf romance that was not in The Hobbit.
Scandalous.
I know, and it was just shoehorned in. I didn't like it. There was this huge battle scene with the barrels that didn't happen when they were like in the barrels out of Mirkwood.
Don't they just float out of Mirkwood and then like
that's
crash on the shore and they're sitting there pissing and moaning and he's like, "Why are you so upset? Aren't you free now?"
Yeah. Instead of that, there's this huge battle between orcs, elves, and the dwarves. The dwarves are in the barrels. The elves are like shooting orcs and shooting the dwarves. And then the orcs are shooting the dwarves and shooting the elves, and it's just like this free-for-all that doesn't know.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
No.
That didn't happen.
That did not happen.
Okay, I see where the issues are. There's honestly enough in there that was interesting enough. Why add stuff?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get to one of my last one, and then you get to your last one.
But first, a few honorable mentions.
Yes.
These did not make the list because they were great, just standalone. They're not as good as the book, but they didn't really need to be. Those are the Lord of the Ring trilogy, so Fellowship,
Okay.
The Fellowship, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King. They're great. I love those movies with the passion of 1,000 suns.
That's a lot of passion, people.
That is a lot of passion, but the books also hold a special place in my heart. But they are.
And again, so does cholesterol.
Yeah, right? Oh my gosh. But they're like two different objects. The second is the Harry Potter series.
Yes, absolutely yes.
Yes, the books and the movies are like two different things.
I'm gonna tell everyone one thing that's controversial. Let's take J.K. Rowling out of the equation and just focus on the works themselves.
Yes. For the purpose of this conversation, yes.
People have said, wouldn't it be great if HBO or Starz or one of those big cable channels took a crack at the Harry Potter franchise, took each book and made it into a season, and people saying, yes, every character, every chapter, every storyline could actually be in there, as opposed to what we got, which was everything condensed into 1 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
Or in one case, 2.
Yeah, that could be a really good idea.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Oh well.
So those are my honorable mentions.
I actually have 2 left, but I do have an honorable mention.
Okay.
My favorite book is Matilda by Roald Dahl.
Oh, that is a good honorable mention.
Yeah, and they happened to make that into a movie.
The movie was fun.
It was fun, yes, but they...
It wasn't the book.
No, for one thing, they moved it from England to America.
Yeah.
And Danny DeVito, God bless his heart, he did a great job, but he was not the man I grew up with. He was not Mr. Wormwood. They cut out a lot of the craziness. They added a lot of wackiness to Matilda's powers, making her like an X-Man, making her a petulant Jean Grey. Instead of just using her powers like once in a while to help people, she's dancing around the house and objects are following her, and she's haunting Miss Trunchbull out of her house by making her think that ghosts are walking around. Like, oh, come on. You didn't need that.
No.
It was still entertaining, though.
It was entertaining.
Okay. Now I just want to mention, we could do a whole list for this guy. We may in the future.
Yep.
It's a book known as The Shining.
The Shining.
That's what I said.
Yes.
Simpsons reference. Not even going to explain it.
If you know, you know.
In 1980, The Shining came out by Stanley Kubrick. And let's be blunt, Stephen King hates this movie. Like, straight up hates this movie. Why does he hate this movie? Because they decided to take subtle, creeping horror and a lot of agonizing psychological terror and cut all of that out.
Yep.
And now it's about zombies. Okay, then.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They changed a great deal of detail about this book.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm distantly in a way related to the guy who produced this. I don't know if everyone knows that. Just throwing that tidbit out there.
But I did enjoy this film when I watched it, but that is mostly due to Jack Nicholson's amazing acting.
Give me the bat!
Give me the bat! Give me the bat! He plays angry and crazy so well.
He does. He plays it so well. I did discuss this actually last year, now that I mention it. A sequel was written by Stephen King to The Shining called Doctor Sleep. And they decided to also make this into a movie. But considering that the book The Shining and the movie The Shining were so different, when they came out with the sequel, Doctor Sleep, and made that into a movie, they based the movie on the movie sequel.
Oh.
So, I mean, he literally goes back to the hotel and deals with ghosts and things inside it, and there's just a lot of callbacks to the movie, stuff that obviously was not in the book.
Yeah.
So there it is, and yeah, I'm sorry.
For better or for worse.
39 years to make a sequel. 39 years to make a sequel, and it wasn't his sequel.
Nope.
Stephen King must, like, carve notches into his arm every time someone brings this up.
He's not dead yet, but we could have infinite energy with him rolling in his grave.
How many Stephen King corpses rolling in their graves would it take to power a small city?
The answer is 13.
Now, since you
Because
have
it's an unlucky number.
Oh my gosh. Why would you? Oh, wow. Okay. I'm just going to jump in and do my last one so you can unload on your last one.
Okay.
And this is actually controversial to the greatest degree.
Let's bring it.
Yes. In 2018, Mortal Engines came out.
I remember seeing the trailers.
This was based on the 2001 book by Philip Reeve, which is actually a series of books, starting with the Mortal Engines. And I will be hard-pressed to remember the rest of them because I haven't gotten there yet. No. I listened to a lot of audiobooks, and I got hooked on this one. And it was full of mystery, intrigue, suspense, a great deal of social class distances, and honestly, it was cruel and violent, and bodies were piled up past the ceiling. Not so much in the movie. The movie eradicated a great deal of the conspiracy and mystery by giving all of the information that one would need right up front. It was also pointed out that in the trailers, this movie was by the special effects team and the people that brought you The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. So, of course, everyone was supposed to run to the theaters for an oversaturated buffet of special effects.
And eat it up.
There was an airship battle. Never happened. I mean, an airship war didn't happen. A certain sky city exploded and fell to the ground. Never happened. Basically, every single character dies. Doesn't happen. I don't know why. They changed the ending. They changed the characters. They made everyone hot.
That's your complaint?
The book describes the lead character, Hester Prynne, as having been struck across the face with a sword when she was just a little girl, tearing off her nose, ripping out an eye, and transforming her smile into a permanent sneer. And in the movie, smolder, 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 with a tiny scar on my face. Oh. Also, I have my nose and eyes. And I'm pretty, and I have long flowing hair.
You know what? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fair complaint.
Another character called Bevis is supposed to be socially awkward, bald because his hair has been scorched away by chemicals, always wearing this disgusting ratty outfit for working in the bowels of this mysterious city. No, he's hot now. He's pretty, and he's got a full head of hair. They did away with the steampunk aspect of this book by making it a more modern city that had video cameras and things that just didn't exist. They changed who the bad guy was. They altered him from a tragic hero to a straight-up villain.
Wow.
And changed his identity.
Whoa.
Yes. And there was another character who had red teeth. They took out the red teeth.
What?
Why would you take out the red teeth?
That's...
It was such a simple detail.
Yeah.
We had all of these dwarves and trolls and wizards wandering around looking, like those people. They didn't necessarily have to be hot, but we made it through 3 movies in the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah.
They couldn't do that with 1 book. But here's what's controversial about this. This movie lost money. It made $83.7 million against a budget of $150 million.
Cool.
It was a box office bomb, one of the biggest ones of all time. And the author loved it.
That's a weird...
I'm seeing the consternation on the face.
Yeah, there are wheels spinning in my brain because, I got the loading screen,
Hang on.
bubble.
I'm going to look up his actual quote because he actually loved the movie. He said he loved the... here it is. Philip Reeve, author of the Mortal Engines novels, praised the film stating, Christian Rivers has done a fantastic job. A huge, visually awesome action movie with perfect pace and genuine emotional core. There are many changes to the character's world and story, but it's still fundamentally the same thing. Normally you don't hear an author whose work has been torn apart, ripped asunder, and transformed into a bad movie defend it so much. Normally they're out there, waving a protest sign.
If you need help, blink twice.
Philip, if you're listening, we're here for you. This movie was so bad that it canceled the rest of the franchise.
Wow.
There were supposed to be 3 other movies following this, and obviously none of them are ever going to be made.
Well, not now.
Yeah. And I have failed to convince certain friends of mine that it was a bad movie. I have failed, straight up failed.
Wow.
Maybe they were just entertained by the really classy explosions and the fact that, Peter Jackson is somewhere smiling wickedly. But sure, fine, whatever. Be that way.
Yeah.
I'm done. We're ending the podcast right this moment. No one has anything else to talk about.
I got one more book.
All right, you. Go ahead.
So this book is probably one of my favorites. I've had this book since I was little, and it was Elder Nerds before mine.
It looks like an old book.
It is a very old book. King Arthur and His Knights. It's a collection of the King Arthur legends. And there are almost no movies that do any sort of justice to any of the King Arthur legends.
Quick, to the internet. Away!
Away! And the one that grinds my gears the most was The Green Knight.
There are 13 movies about King Arthur.
Yeah.
And you're, again, that unlucky number.
Yep.
And none of them have actually done it right?
None of them have really done it.
Okay, then.
Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table quite right. There are good things about some and good things about others. But it's never quite right. And the worst offender in all this category, this makes me, unreasonably angry.
Everyone get down.
Is The Green Knight, which came out in 2018, maybe 2019, maybe check that for me. It was so horrible.
2021.
2021. It was so horrible. It was such a betrayal and destruction of Sir Gawain's character. Sir Gawain is one of the best knights. He's not the perfect knight like Sir Galahad. He's not cool and happening like Lancelot. He's like the Joe Schmo of King Arthur. No, Frosty's leaning away because I'm getting really into this. Sir Gawain is the Joe Schmo of King Arthur's knights. He is just the average dude, and he gets things wrong a lot, but he tries, and he tries, and he tries hard. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
And this movie, The Gawain, was such an art house acid trip of a movie. It was 2 hours long when it only needed to be 30 minutes. Just filled with these spectacular visuals. I'm sure everyone at the studio was just smelling their own farts yeah, that's some good fart gas. I'm sure they're smelling their farts like they're some hot. And the movie is so bad, and it ends right where Sir Gawain should have gotten his redemption, because the Green Knight, well, not the Green Knight, because it's he's the king of the castle, gives him a sash that's supposed to protect him from harm, and Sir Gawain keeps it a secret from the king, which he shouldn't have done, because anything he got from... Anyways, he was supposed to give it to the king, but he didn't, because it was going to save his life, because Sir Gawain was going to have his head chopped off. He kept it. Who wouldn't? And that's the point of the story. When Sir Gawain goes to get his head chopped off, he gets his moment of redemption of, hey man, anyone would have done the same in your circumstance. Nobody wants to die. Don't do it again. But we're cool. And they just stop right before he gets his head chopped off, leaving it ambiguous.
Question, do you feel passionately about this movie?
I do feel passionately about this movie.
Just checking.
I snapped this movie in half after I watched it.
Tell me it wasn't a Netflix rental.
It wasn't a Netflix rental.
Okay,
I paid money for this. It was on sale for $10, but I don't care.
Now we know why.
I snapped it in half. I was so angered by this movie.
Oh my gosh, I have this beautiful image of you breaking it over your knee and then jumping up and down on top of it. Dark whiskey struck again.
I absolutely cannot stand the Green Knight. It's such a absolute betrayal of Sir Gawain's character and everything that the Knights of the Round Table stood for.
So that's a yes, you do feel passionately about this.
Yes.
Wow. You know, all my friends think you're mild-mannered. Wait till they hear this.
Ah! Oh man, I think that was poisonous.
Oh, Frosty, that looks bad.
I don't feel so good. I think this is the end.
Oh, Frosty, no. Is there anything I can do for you?
As a matter of fact, yes, I have the cable guy coming Monday. Could you please be at my house to let him in? Also, there's a slice of cheesecake in the fridge that's going to go bad. Finish it, would you? It was expensive, but turns out it's blueberry. I can't stand blueberry. When you're done, throw out the milk. It's expired by now, and I never got around to it. When you're in the kitchen, please make sure to check under the table. Sometimes the dogs leave scraps under there. Give it a quick dusting. Next Tuesday, I have a PT appointment. Could you let them know I'm not going to make it? Also, tell my guy hi for me, and make sure that everyone knows no one gets my stuff. I want it to all be buried with me. Then someone needs to make my last tuition payment for the semester. Could you get on that, will you?
Will there be anything else?
I've never particularly enjoyed your company.
Right back at you, buddy. Right back at you.
All right, Whiskey. We've poured you some calming tea. We've given you a nice back rub. We've removed the book. We're calm. Blue skies. Calm waves.
Piece of crap movie.
Dark whiskey struck again. That was amazing. I'm glad that we were all here for that. So there we go. And you know what I noticed? I don't think either of us had a single book that we actually rated as better or accurate.
No, I don't think we did.
Wow. We'll have to look out for that. Or we can ask the audience.
I think we should ask the audience.
Yo, audience. Wake up. I know you're out there. I can hear you breathing.
You know who you're talking about. Yes, you, exactly. We know that. Clean up that drool puddle, too.
Do you have any books that you think were made into a movie that was actually good? Because I can't think of a single one right now.
Oh, yeah, I'm drawing a blank. I tore through most of my library.
Yeah. And there are things out there that I want to be made into movies, but, you know, I'm worried.
Yeah.
I want my own stuff to be made into movies, but, again, worried.
Yeah.
I don't think that
Elder Nerd's raising his hand.
I don't think anything can be found. So, now that you've gotten that all out of your system, are you ready to let it go at last?
No, I won't let this go.
You'll die on this hill.
I will channel my inner Frosty, never let this go, die on this hill.
Your inner me. That's beautiful.
Serenity now.
No, your serenity. I am... What is that thing you say? Whiskey says, calm down. Frosty says, burn it to the ground.
Yep.
Thank goodness we don't write advice columns.
Oh, I could write advice columns. You not so much.
I would be the person who sneaks in the day it's supposed to go to publishing and, like, do some edits on it fast.
Quote-unquote edits.
Everybody, thank you for listening. I am your friend Frosty.
And I am your miffed bartender, Mike Whiskey.
And as always, have a cold one on us. This is refreshing. You're actually human.
I am actually? What do you mean by that?
I suspected you might be some sort of holier-than-thou angelic being come down to mock the rest of us.
I don't know. That movie deserves some righteous indignation.
Okay, letting it go now. Letting it go.
This podcast was recorded at and produced by Cape Media Center on Cape Cod, Massachusetts by podcasting duo Mike Whiskey and your friend Frosty. All music and sound credits go to soundstripe.com. Special thanks to Jamie Horton, Emily Tulloch, Gabrielle Rawson. For more information on Bourbon on Ice, visit our social media page at twitter.com/whiskeyfrosty. For more information on Cape Media Center, visit capemedia.org. For more listening options and a variety of podcasting entertainment, visit our hosts at buzzsprout.com and capemediacenter.org.